Alright, I'm glad this is finally done. Finally a floor that is not a tripping hazard anymore. I think about the middle section here is the weakest part of the boat, and that's because I don't have any of those raised cross members up here. I did that on purpose. I tried to save space for later. My framing is just 3/4 of an inch thick, so it's not the strongest either, but I also think about this whole thing as a solid version of cardboard. You know, when you have one piece of paper, it's quite floppy, but as soon as you glue on those ribs, it becomes stable, at least in one direction. And now the real key is to put a second layer of paper on top, which now stabilizes the whole piece. And that's basically what I did here. By screwing down all this plywood from the top, I increased the stability of this whole section by quite a lot. Anyways, I'm tired of cutting foam and plywoods, and I start to be curious about the weight of the boat at the moment. And maybe we can figure out a rough number just so we know where we're at. So I got myself recently this crane scale, and somehow I managed to squeeze my engine hoist under the stern of the boat. I'm going to try to lift the boat on this end, and I just used a U-bolt and a 2x4 that I clamped under this opening to rig up an attachment point. I was quite nervous to lift this thing, but it all worked out just fine. I lifted it off the ground by about an inch, and the scale showed about 345 kilograms. Okay, let's see what we can do with this number. As of right now, the boat sits on 2 beams on the ground. If I look at the setup, I basically have a class 2 lever with 1 beam as the fulcrum, the mass of the boat as load, and my lifting force as effort. Assuming that the mass sits somewhat evenly in the middle, then my 345 kilograms are just half of the weight and the other half sits in a fulcrum. Now that would get me basically to 690 kilograms, which is still not quite right yet, because 25% of the length of the boat sits in front of the fulcrum. Even though I don't think it is 25% of the mass, but I'm just gonna be generous and add 30% to my 690 kilograms, which happens to be 207 kilograms, and now the new total is at 897 kilograms. Now just let's round this up to 900 to make life easier. Now my trailer's capacity is at 2135 kilograms, so we got lots of room, which I probably will need because the windows are heavy, the outboard motor is heavy, batteries are heavy, the entire interior will weigh a lot, so there's lots to add when it comes to weight. I'm also quite aware of how wishy-washy my math is here, but all I need is really a rough estimate for right now. But if you see a major mistake though, feel free to let me know in the comments. Now I felt like making some visual progress, so I started to sand down this end wall, and I think I mentioned it before, but I really hate sanding. It's such a lengthy and boring process, but so far I haven't found a way around it. I guess I don't really have a choice. Now that's it for today. I was hoping to get a little bit more done, but we're also in the middle of wrapping up our garden season, and you know how it is, life can get pretty busy at times. I thought I'd share this anyways, and you know what, we made progress, that's all that matters. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you the next time.